Hello, everybody. This is Fernando Delgado from Stickman Sound, and I'm going to run you through a quick setup of the Sound Devices 644 menu. Give you some general settings that we use, and so I'm going to go ahead and dive right into it. Okay, so first, menu button, hit the menu button, and 1 through 9, actually 1 through 10, these are all of your menu options. So I'm just going to go right down the line. Your input setting, these here will allow you to link channels for stereo mics, then your phantom voltage, pre-fade, etc. Next is your outputs. As you can see, everything here is set to line. That is generally the case with these mixers. The only exception in our case is we have some transmitters that do AES audio, and we would set that accordingly. Your limiters here, if you're using your limiters for your left-right outputs, your threshold, and then your option for your auxiliary channels. Next is your record options. Here you have record to CF and SD. This is the file format that you're going to be recording to each card. One of the cool things about this recorder is that you can do different formats on each card. So we generally just use it as a redundant feed. But if you are going to do like an MP3 for transcription or something like that, you can set your bit rates. Here you're also going to find your sample rates, bit depth, and pre-roll time. I always set my pre-roll time to the maximum that the recorder will allow. I can't tell you how many times that has saved me in the past. And then approved media list. Sound Devices is smart enough to include that, and that takes you to their website, which will give you their current approved media list. Comms and return, so if you're doing some scripted work and you're working with a boom operator, these are all of your settings for your intercom. Let's see, what else do we have? We've got your time code. Actually, your time code and file storage are probably the two menus that you go to the most frequently. Time code is pretty self-explanatory. You'll also find your reference sync, but these machines generally work by themselves and are not hooked up to any big digital chain, so you don't need to worry about reference sync or any of that other stuff. Frame rate, here's all your standard frame rates. Most of the jobs we're doing anymore are 23.98, so most of our recorders will go out 23.98 unless the client specifies otherwise. File storage, here we're here at least every job. Here is your folder options, and this is basically the file folder structure for all of your files. Top folder generally will be a project name. Your mid folder, on most of our jobs, we'll send it out as a daily folder. You can also name it or choose none, but most of the time we'll put it into a daily folder. That way all the files recorded that day go into that folder, regardless if you use the bottom folder or not, which you can do the scene name, which of course you would do for most scripted work, and a lot of documentaries and stuff like that that we do, we'll just turn this to none. That way all the files end up in the daily folder. And so that's file folder options. Sound report info, as you can imagine, here is all your sound report info. I recommend getting a keyboard for this recorder. It'll make that process a lot easier. You can also do it later in Wave Agent, but it's always better to get it done early. Let's see what else. Take designator, most people don't change this. This just puts the T before the take on your file. File name, or file size rather, I generally keep mine at 2 gigs. Most systems, I believe, currently limit how big their audio files can be at 2 gigs. So that's generally what we leave it at. And then, you know, you can, here's a good spot, the erase and file. So if you push in to select, it'll say, do you want to do this? You say, yes, I do. I say, are you sure? Because there might be something on this card you don't want to erase. And then press it in again, and it'll format the card for you. And so that's that menu. The next one is our system menu. And this is generally stuff that you'll go through once and never go back to it, unless you're using maybe somebody else's recorder or one of ours and you don't like our settings or want to change them. First one would be your tone frequency. 1K is standard, but some people like 400 Hertz as well. Your tone mode, personally, you can either do continuous or left indent, ident rather, and I like mine to be left ident. That way when I plug into a camera or send audio to a recorder, it's already identifying itself for me. And here, you know, meter ballistics, warnings, all that other stuff, track names in meters. I like to keep mine on the left, and I'll show you what that does here in a second. LCD brightness, time format, time zones, headphone outputs, and then at the bottom your firmware update, which is also generally really easy. Okay, so that's the menu. Oh, quick setup. So if you like to have your general settings set up on a card, you can put them on a card and then load them here, and then just have like a default for your machine. Let's see, the only other thing I wanted to go through is, let's see, so see, now you can see channel names, and the only other thing is, so naming your scenes, putting notes in, and naming tracks. Going through the menu is kind of time consuming, so they have a really cool shortcut. Basically, if you hold down the menu button and then hold down the headphone button, you'll get to this screen. If you can do this to a file you've already recorded, a file you're currently recording, or your next take. But basically, if you go into edit here, you can change your scene name. You can change your takes or any of your tracks. This is the best part, is you can go into your track names here. What I like to do is I'll go into my channel. See how I've got it labeled boom? You can go in here and then just name them real quick. And so if I'm doing something that's scripted, I'll just put the whole cast in there. That way I can quickly access them. Exit out of that. Alrighty, I think that's all I have. If you have any questions, shoot me an email or hit Megan up here on Facebook. You all have a really great day.